Together.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, I can hear myself now.
Oh my gosh. Did she just have a brand new moment right there?
Okay, we live.
It's like, oh, I can hear myself.
Absolutely. Okay.
Hello, everybody,
Good evening.
and welcome to another episode?
Yes, of Girls Gabbin.
Yes, I am Lisa Dove Washington,
And I am Andrea Riley.
and we are Girls Gabbin. And we are here for another day. We're gonna have some fun today. Sometimes we get a little
we are.
serious or focused, but we just had something just totally out the box, wild and crazy. But before we get started with that, I guess we'll probably call in around 7:10. So hold tight for that. But was there anything going on that you wanted to share?
Well, I do want to share, just so our listeners know, DC Radio and our affiliate, GoGo Radio Live. That's okay. GoGo Radio, GoGo Radio Live. I'm going to keep it going. We are continuing to raise funds for the families that need help in the Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian. So we want to help someone else. So therefore, if you're willing to donate, please, no amount is too big or too small. You can Cash App at $Go Win Media, on Venmo at Go Win Media, on PayPal at paypal.com. I'm sorry, paypal.me/Go Win Media LLC, or Google Pay at Go Win Media LLC. And again, those donations are going to help families in the Bahamas. So if you can spare any amount, we would more than appreciate it. And that's coming from us at Girls Gabbin as well.
Absolutely. Oh, Viola, first time tuning in.
All right.
You, Viola,
hey, Viola,
for tuning in. And stay with us because we're going to have some fun today. I did want to mention with that, I watched, I think DJ Rico was playing.
Okay.
And everybody was tuning in.
Awesome.
And it was wonderful.
Yes.
So the energy was good.
That's good.
It was
very good.
It was good to see people just willing to do whatever the DJ, all the DJs pitching. I think it was 20 DJs?
20 DJs.
And for 24 hours.
Awesome.
Yes.
So we're going to be bringing that back again. And that's going to be until October 4th. So you guys have plenty of time. I also wanted to share, and I know Lisa's going to jump in here at some point, but we're going to do some, as we're getting into the last Sunday of September, we're getting into October, and October focuses on the health awareness in so many levels. So we're definitely going to be touching a lot of areas about you and some of the things that affect our community and people individually. Things like mental health awareness is October 10th, for example, and Lisa and I were just discussing it, and it gives us the opportunity to raise awareness of mental health issues. And their theme this year actually is on suicide prevention.
Okay.
So it's hard to hear that every year close to almost 800,000 people take their own lives.
Right.
So we definitely are going to be focusing on that. Of course, we know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and throughout October, we're just going to be
we're going
touching
to just
different areas of
have some guests who can touch on a lot of the awareness health issues that are going on for the month of October. Hopefully, we'll be able to touch each and every one of them. So if I just wanted to kind of say, if somebody out there has a foundation or works within one of those areas, please reach out to us because we're going to focus on all of those for the month of October. And every Sunday we hope to touch a little bit on it.
Absolutely.
Because all of it's in every year I used to walk for because there's so many different months.
There is.
There
is.
To do the same things, like even breast cancer awareness and things like that. So hopefully next year, and Andrea and I were just kind of talking about this, we'll be able to get more involved in some of those.
Right.
And get Girls Gabbin involved in that. So please stay connected and tuned in as we grow.
Absolutely.
Because we're coming up on our
year.
And it's been fun. It's been
has.
fun. And we've had a lot of wonderful guests on the show. A lot of wonderful guests.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, everybody has been
guests.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, and some of them we weren't able to get on, so we got to swing back around and get them back on, and we might have some repeaters. So if you had a favorite guest,
let us know.
that
let
came
us know.
on, and you
Definitely.
like, I want to hear more, then need to make them spill their guts a little
Absolutely.
bit more. So,
and I'm sure they got a lot more to share now. Things have
Yeah.
transitioned and changed, and
right,
we've
that's
seen
right.
some.
Because every year something
yeah.
new is coming up. We stay busy. So, did you have anything new coming up with you that
Not
you
as
can
of
share?
yet.
Yeah. Okay,
Again, still working on some
she got us
things.
on pins and
Yeah, I
needles
got you
and
on
stuff.
pins and needles, but it's gonna all come forth. Soon,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I want to hear. I'm like, okay, let's share.
And what about you?
Well, I did finish. Well, this was a whole lot happened this year.
Yeah, a lot did happen.
I might have lost track of everything that happened this year, but
For your
no,
collaboration.
the collaboration. Well, actually, I have a collaboration that I did with my publisher for my Power of Shut Up book.
Okay.
So that comes out.
I don't know what that was.
That comes out October 5th. So
Okay.
next weekend I will be headed to New York.
Yes.
For another billboard reveal.
Awesome. You will
This
be
will
sharing
my
that,
third.
right?
Yes, I'll go
Okay.
live and just so whoever don't want to stay off the timeline then because I'm going to share it. It's huge. And October 26th is actually a really big deal because that's a co-author release, but that's actually under my publishing company, which I actually launched this year.
Okay.
So I had a co-author book. I released my own book, and then I started my own publishing company.
That's right. That's right.
I don't know, a few months.
Few
or something.
months.
So,
It actually was a few months. So you had your
Yes.
book release, and then you went right into it.
yeah, I was
So,
just
yeah.
doing the most. Yeah, but all good things, wonderful things.
Absolutely.
It is my lane. I thank Sharon tremendously for helping me to find my lane. I was thinking about us talking. I guess we'll be calling in a minute, but I was thinking about just how awesome it was to have, one of my platforms that I speak on and have spoke on is sharing your shine, but sisterhood, and the fact that it wasn't any competition on, oh my goodness, I'm teaching her what I know kind of thing. It was just kind of, I want to see you grow, and whatever we do, even if it's the same thing, it's always going to be different because we're all different. So I think we have our guest coming in, so we're going to see if we can get her on the line, and we're going to get started. Hello, Lisa. Are you there? Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Hi.
How are you?
I am doing well. Is this Lisa?
It's Lisa and Andrea, my co-hosts. We're trying to make sure there's some feedback in the phone.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
We're making sure. Can you hear anything, or is it good?
It sounds good, and I've just muted my computer, so hopefully it's not coming from my end.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're good. So, welcome to Girls Gabbin.
Welcome. Hi, Lisa.
Thank
How are
you.
you?
I'm so excited. I'm well.
Yes, this was fun. And Andrea is my co-host for Girls Gabbin.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Great, Andrea. How are you doing?
Good. And I guess I want you to explain because I want then I'm
Okay.
gonna explain to the listeners why I couldn't.
Right. Okay, so we're going to do this one a little differently, Lisa, because normally I would read the bio and then share with them, but I kind of want to give a background on how this started and then go into who you are, because you're our one and only guest today.
Yes.
So it's all about. Look, for a moment, Andrea,
it's
all
okay.
it's all about Lisa D. Washington today. So, and I will say, when I posted and said I can't wait to talk about the interview with Lisa D. Washington, there were a couple of friends who were like, I don't know what's going on with you.
Thought you lost it. You repeating it,
But
talking to
you
yourself.
can call me anytime and we can work this out. So I think they thought I was
See,
going
the great thing about this, Lisa, is that you and I both love our name. I thought when and this all began, I think, was it a tweet, on Twitter?
Yes.
I saw Lisa Washington. I'm like, Lisa Washington? I'm Lisa Washington. Who is this? And not only that, it was Lisa D. Washington. And so my middle name is Danielle, and I always make the point of using that D, Lisa D. Washington. So I thought, okay, who is this? Let me find out who this person is.
Oh, nice. So she actually reached out to you.
Well, what happened
Yes.
was, what I usually will go out there and Google my name just to see if there's any crazy stuff out because people
Yeah,
do crazy stuff.
yeah.
So I was checking every so often I do, and when I Googled Lisa D. Washington, her picture came up. And so I was like, wait a minute. I don't know why I had never seen it before, but I was like, wait a minute. So I saw she was on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, let me go on Twitter and follow her. Mm-hmm. Because I was just curious. It was like, I have to follow her. Her name is Lisa D. Washington.
Right.
I mean, really. So I followed her, and then she DM'd me and said, Lisa D. There's another Lisa D.
How
Washington.
awesome is that, though?
What does the D stand for? And then she said, oh, I see. And then she said, oh, my goodness. So I said so I replied back and said, we have to talk. We have to talk.
Right.
So we actually connected and started talking, and then it got even more interesting after we talked.
Exactly. I mean, we know some of the same people. We have some of the same interests. We both went to college in Atlanta. Like, there's just so many similarities. We both love DC, of course.
Yes.
So I was really excited that we were able to connect.
Yes, it was so cool. I even asked Andrea, 'cause I was like, okay, I know this is like a weird little thing, but go Google yourself and see if you can find somebody and if there were similarities, because it just seemed like, oh, this is a fun little thing to do.
It is.
So, it was
like a name match. Now, I did Google, however, I would say the only thing I could find under Andrea Riley was an athlete. Okay. So I'm going to put it out there. If there's another Andrea and Riley,
then we have to do this again and have you come in. We will do this again.
But reach out to me so we could do this name match thing.
Yes, because this was fun. But we're going to tell you a little bit so y'all don't think I'm crazy. There really is another Lisa D. Washington. I'm not talking to myself on Facebook, okay? So
She's not. I really exist. I'm a different person.
Right. So I'm going to introduce you. She's an award-winning journalist currently working for KDKA TV in Pittsburgh. She's also the host for PBS station WQED TV. She is a 15-year veteran of television news, having anchored and reported at television stations across the country. Prior to KDKA TV and WQED TV, she covered general assignment and breaking news stories for KPIX TV, the CBS affiliate in San Francisco. She's also worked at WMC TV in Memphis as a news anchor and reporter, including covering the historic 2011 flood of the Mississippi River, and as a morning anchor at WHNT TV in Huntsville, Alabama. She covered a deadly school bus accident where she provided actually over 6 hours of solo anchoring, which that had to be something else. She also had the opportunity of skydiving with the U.S. Army paratroopers, so we'll get her to tell us a little bit more about that. So she began her career in Washington, D.C., even though she's actually from Bennettsville, South Carolina. And she started as a reporter trainee at WTTG TV, where she conducted her most memorable interview with civil rights icon Rosa Parks. Oh, nice. Which is big. She graduated from Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia, where she earned her Bachelor's of Arts degree in Mass Media Arts and with a concentration in journalism. She's currently pursuing her master's in public relations and corporate communications at Georgetown University. Okay. When she's not anchoring, which is, you have been everywhere, but when you're not anchoring or reporting the latest local news or studying, she often volunteers in her community or spends time with her family. She's also the president of the Pittsburgh chapter of the Links Incorporated, which is a women's volunteer organization, and a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Inc. and Jack and Jill of America. Okay. She and her husband, Tillman Russian, are proud parents of 2 children, a boy and a girl. And she loves to run, read, and travel. Now, the reading and the traveling and visiting family friends, but that running, that's what we changed. We're a little different. We're a little different there, but that was just one thing. Okay, and she has a love of flowers and plants, orchids to be particular. She admits one of her most enjoyable challenges is keeping and I hope I said persnickety plant. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Okay, in Bloom.
Yes.
Please welcome Lisa D.
All
Washington.
right.
Welcome, Lisa.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be speaking with you, Lisa. It's almost surreal.
I feel like I've known her forever. And I told her I have lots of friends named Lisa. One of them in particular, she spells her name different, Leesa. So it's a little different, but when I'm talking to Lisa or type and write my name, it's a little odd. Or when I'm Googling my emails, I'm like, no, that's mine. And I have to go back and say. So welcome, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be on with you. And you're right. I mean, whenever you call now, because I have you saved in my phone as Lisa D. Washington, I'm like, oh, this is so weird. I'm Lisa D. Washington.
Right.
But I just think this is so cool. And you're right, because as you were saying to Andrea, it's not to me like it's a Bob Smith or, a James Johnson. Like, it's not that common of a name, I don't think. Although there are a lot of Lisas.
Right.
But, I mean, we just have so many things in common, which is just surprising to me.
Right.
We did, like, I had done my research on Lisa because I was just fascinated. And that's when we were talking, and I was like, oh my gosh. Because I was looking at her favorite music or favorite movie or hobbies and sports team. So I will say for all of our Washingtonians that even though Lisa is from Bennettsville, South Carolina, let them know who your favorite football team is.
Oh, wow.
So I am, as I said to Lisa during one of our phone conversations, I am like a DC girl who does not live there. I lived there when I worked for Fox 5. I love the Redskins, win, lose, tie, indifferent. I'm still a Redskins fan.
Nice.
I love the Nationals, the Capitals. Like, I am a DC girl who doesn't live there. My favorite food, crab cake.
Well, that's awesome.
Yes.
That is cool
awesome.
to have somebody who's maybe a bigger fan than somebody who lives here.
Absolutely. It's still a diehard fan for all of the home teams. That's great.
Right. And then when we found out we went to college in Atlanta, it's like Clark and Spelman are right there together. So tell us a little bit. I know we've talked before, but tell us a little bit about how you got into journalism. I will say that my attraction to it was that I always wanted to be, and I do things that are kind of, in the journalism lane, but I always wanted to be in that field. So when I saw her name and then saw that she was a news anchor, it was like, really?
Right.
Like, am I like reading my story that if I hadn't, if I hadn't done this, that, oh my gosh. So yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, first of all, Lisa, let me just say you have accomplished a lot, and you are extremely talented. So you have done incredibly well.
Thank you.
But a little bit about me. So I grew up in South Carolina, and I always say my father, though, lives in the D.C. area. So I don't know if he's listening or not. Hopefully he is. He lives in Springfield now.
Okay.
But I've always loved D.C., and so much so, my love for D.C. actually started because I grew up with all male cousins. So I'm an only child, but I have male cousins who are close in age to me. So I was forced to watch football and other sporting events with them. So I liked the Redskins simply because they were Washington Redskins. I didn't at the time know they were in D.C. I thought it was Washington State. Oh. Later I learned they were actually from Washington, D.C., and I've loved them ever since. In fact, I've had co-anchors who would refer to me as Lisa Washington Rushing and Lisa Washington Redskins. But as I got into television because there was a news reporter who visited my class when I was in the 5th grade, and I was just so impressed with her. I thought, okay, that's what I want to do. Kids say things all the time, but I was really taken by this woman, and so I always watched the news. My mother made me watch the news when I was a child, and I enjoyed it. And so I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And so I went to Clark, Atlanta after graduating from high school, and it really just kind of took off from there. My first TV job was at Fox 5, so of course I'm, again, loyal to D.C., and learned so much there, met some incredible people, and it's just worked out so far.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating, too, that you wanted to be, this is what you wanted to do when you were younger, and you went to school, and that's what you became, and you stayed in that lane, accomplishing all kinds of things, because it said you were Emmy award winning. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, 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 yes. So I am an Emmy Award-winning journalist. I actually have done some work. I think you read in my bio with the PBS station here in Pittsburgh, WQED, and I have several Emmy nominations. But 2 years ago, I actually won an Emmy for a piece I did about children from lower income families, deserving families who are able to learn things like science and robotics and engineering and sort of these unconventional ways. And
Okay.
so my work on that actually earned me an Emmy.
Wow.
Nice.
Kind of in the STEM area. That
Yes,
kind of, okay.
yes.
Wonderful. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yes.
But I'm interested in the skydiving that you
Jumping out of planes.
jumping out of planes.
Right, because normal people don't just say, "Hey, I think I want to go jump out of a plane."
That's
That's
right.
sort of how I felt. Right, that's how I felt too. So I was working one day. I was actually working in Alabama at the time. I was working late, and I got an email message from my boss at the time, who said there was an opportunity. It was like one of those flight weekends. You know how like the Blue Angels and the Army's Golden Knights, they come to do these air shows, and people are always going to see all the planes. And there was an opportunity for someone to go skydiving. So at the time, I wasn't married. I didn't have any kids. And I thought, okay, Lisa, if you're ever going to do it, now is the time to do it.
Right.
So without thinking too much, I said a quick prayer to Jesus and said, okay, I'll do it. And here's the thing. So literally that was like on a Friday, and I had to do it the next day. So
Oh, wow.
I did not call my mother. Didn't
Oh,
think
my
I should tell
gosh.
her because just in case, she probably would
talked
say
you
no,
out of
and
it,
I'd already
right?
said
Right.
yes. She would talk me out of it. I would think about it too much. So I did that, and then I sent her a picture. Kind of afterwards, I called and I was like, "You're not going to believe what I just did." And she's like, "What?" I was like, "I jumped out of a plane." Yeah, right, Lisa. Sure you did.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to send her the picture as proof that I actually jumped out of the plane. It was a lot of fun. It was tandem, so I wasn't by myself. I was actually connected to one of the U.S. Army, the Golden Knights.
Okay.
But still, I jumped out of the plane, and we were both out there. There was no backup if the parachute didn't work.
Wow.
But
wow.
it was enjoyable. I would never do it again.
Well, I was gonna say because I will never do that experience. I just wanted to
Right.
know
Yeah,
how
that's,
you
that's
felt.
a one and done for me. And Lisa,
Yeah.
also, I should tell you, as far as the running, I'm probably close to a jogger or a fast walker. So don't think that I'm someone out running all these marathons all
And
the
you
time.
still
That's not
have
the
me
case.
beat because I will walk. I will walk from here to. I've done the
Yes, you
walk
have.
where I walk 39 miles. I can walk my butt off. Actually, till my toenails fell off. That's how much I
know.
walk. But running. Yeah, that's anything that moves faster than a walk. I'm like, can I get this in another way?
Oh my goodness.
But I also had looked up some things with Lisa, and these are just some faves where I started to see where we were actually, I was
Yeah,
like, is
something
it in the
common.
name? What's in the name?
Okay.
And so her favorite music is R&B music, and I was
Okay.
like, okay, there's Lisa D. Washington. Her favorite one of her favorite movies is Love Jones, which is one of mine,
Yeah.
along with Love and Basketball. And I think
Those
I
are mine,
mentioned
I love and basketball.
brown sugar.
And brown sugar.
Yeah, all those kind of movies.
Mhm.
I did mention to her that one of my other favorites is The Notebook, which is I just love that movie. Cry every time I see. Like I don't know what's going to happen. I still
Right. But it's so good. It's a great ending. I love that.
It does. And her hobbies are volunteering, which I have
You do.
done. I love doing and reading, of course.
Of course.
Her sports team is Washington Redskins. We're not a real football family. I know ours is, and my husband plays golf and bowls. So usually
Okay.
when the other ladies are talking about, they can't get access to their husbands during the football game, I'm like, well, I'm kind of good,
Not golfing
Yeah, no
season, so I'm
change here,
good.
'cause he-
Right.
Because he always thinks that they lose because he watches, so he won't watch. He's
Really?
just like,
I kind of feel that way too.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, he
Okay.
feels that
Yeah,
way.
I
so
do kind of feel that way.
he's like, oh no, I can't watch because every time I watch, they lose. So let me not watch. I was like, I don't think that that's really true because you haven't been watching
it.
them.
Yeah.
And it's
It
not,
still isn't. I'm sorry.
I mean, well, no,
We're not
wait a
saying it
minute.
on
You
air.
can't say, look.
I'm sorry.
And
so
Andrea's
sorry.
not allowed to say anything because she is not a Washington Redskins fan.
Okay, then Andrea, then
Right.
you don't comment. You,
You
don't
know
say
what?
much, okay?
She slipped in a
I am a
little
diehard
sidey, right?
49ers fan.
She slipped that in real quick, so
I did.
yeah,
I got it in
we
there.
can't accept that from Andrea.
Okay,
But her
Andrea.
favorite food
All right,
is
Lisa.
crab cakes, and
Okay.
I love
Crabs.
We do crabs
Mhm.
3-4 times. Yeah, we just love crabs. So I did
Yes.
find out that, which was funny too, that sometimes when we're talking on the show and they say absolutely, let's say that a lot. Her word is absolutely, which I was like, oh my goodness. She said that we were talking about. She said that somebody had told her that she used that word. You may tell it, Lisa, but you said that somebody said you use that word a lot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
We do
I
it all the
was
time.
anchoring a newscast. There was some breaking news, and things are happening. It's not like there's a script. You're just talking about things as you're
Right.
learning about them. And apparently, unbeknownst to me, I was saying absolutely too much. So
Oh,
this
my.
lady decided to take it upon herself to send me a message saying, you know what, you say absolutely too much. I've never even thought about it. I like the word.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I responded, I was like, you know what? I absolutely do not think that I do. So,
And that was a Lisa move. So I was just
Absolutely.
like, yes.
Because
And
we
I
say
did
it
say
all the
we said
time.
yes. So I thought that was kind of cute. But I did mention or write down that your favorite, one of your quotes was, service is the rent we pay for being. It is the very purpose of being and not something you do in your spare time. And that's by Marion Wright Edelman. And I loved that quote.
Okay.
yeah, and here's another thing. So Marion Wright Edelman, who you probably know, is the founder of the Children's Defense Fund. She is from my hometown, Bennettsville, South Carolina, but she also lives in D.C.
Wow.
Really? Well, wouldn't that be
Yes,
something
she
to
does.
bring
Wouldn't that
together?
be?
So now the wheels are
Okay,
turning.
Lisa.
Like, when are you have to let me know
You
when
have
you're
to
coming
let us
because
know.
Pittsburgh is not that far away.
Absolutely.
So,
And your dad is here in Springfield,
yes.
so.
I know. I definitely need to get there. I'm working on it. So hopefully if Fox 5 or WRC, JLA, somebody's listening, this will be a little more of an incentive for them to help get me
There
there.
you
Right. So, because we actually know Micheline Bowman, and I haven't
Yes.
reached out to her yet to tell her. You didn't tell me you knew another Lisa D. Washington, but I'm going to reach out to her and let her know because I thought that was so cool that we kind of knew some of the same people.
Okay.
And then what
Yes, and I
found
think
out-
we know a second person too. I was checking you out, Lisa. I didn't do as much research as you did, but I think we have a second person in common as well. I don't know if I should say his name. Should I say his name?
Yeah.
I don't think he lives in the D.C. area. Trinell Harris.
Chanel Harris.
He and I went to Clark Atlanta together, and I think he's a mutual Facebook friend for both of us.
I have to go back and
Just
yeah,
check.
because it's probably more people. Because I was just making sure when I was doing the flyer, I was like, can I tag you? Because I know that all your stuff was with the news,
Right.
and I said the news people might be like, what in the world is going on? Who is this?
Oh, they'll be fine.
Who
They'll
is
be
this girl
fine.
gabbing, and what are they gabbing about?
So the relationship with you and Michelle, is that through radio TV or is it as well because you are both are sorors?
Well, actually, I met her at Fox 5. So when
Okay.
I was working there, that's when we
Okay.
first met, yes.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I know that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
And of course, your guilty pleasure, which is mine, forever has been. I was never a big shoe girl. I'm
I
picking up
am.
on that, but handbags is her guilty pleasure, and I am the bag lady. And it doesn't necessarily have
told
to
me
be.
that.
And it doesn't have to be like designer necessarily. I do love some
right.
of my designer, but if it's cute and
Right.
it's whatever,
Yes.
I just
Exactly.
love bags to carry my. I got bags that I don't even use, but I bought them because I was like, these
I
are
agree.
so cute. So that
I
was
love a beautiful bag.
Yeah,
I do.
absolutely.
And you're right. It doesn't have to be designer. It just needs to be cute. I love them.
just cute. So when I saw all of these things that were just kind of like, why do I feel like I know her? But and her name is Lisa D. Washington. So it was like, oh, I have to talk to her. And we've been chatting ever since. Like we knew each other, but kind of sort of felt like we did because every time I turned around, it was something that, oh, I do too. Oh, I do too.
So Lisa, I have to ask Lisa, is your middle name Danielle, by the way?
My look,
Yes.
my middle,
Oh.
her middle.
No, I
name
know
is
yours
Danielle.
is Danielle.
My middle name, I told her, was Denise.
Oh, okay.
But I actually wanted to keep, because we were big about this D, and that was another like little tweak in it, because I wanted to keep, my initials were able to stay the same when I got married, because Dove is my maiden name. So I actually made my maiden name my middle name, so I could keep the Lisa D. Washington. So I'm very particular about the D, because the D is the Dove, and I have to keep that because I use that in my business and things. And she said she was big on keeping that. She said Lisa D. Washington. It was never Lisa Washington.
Okay.
It's the D has to be there.
Yeah.
The D has to be there.
It has
That's
to
why I
be
was so
there.
intrigued by you. It wasn't that your name was just Lisa Washington. It was Lisa D. Washington. And I
Right.
thought, who is this?
Right.
Another Lisa D. Washington? I can't believe it.
I know the middle initial is like, wait a minute, okay. You know, normally the middle initial is a little different.
Right.
But it was Lisa D. Washington, so we just started sharing stories, and I thought it was kind of fascinating. So I was like, we have to have you come on and just share
Absolutely.
how. And I was thought, how cool would it be for everybody to just go out there and Google themselves, and see who is similar to, but has the same name, and then just share their story, because it's kind of like looking in the mirror, but I don't know,
Right.
it's
But
like
seeing something
it was
different.
so cool.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I enjoyed meeting you, and it was her reaction when I followed her was just like, it was like she was taking claim, like, wait a minute, okay, who is this? There's a Lisa D. Washington. And I was like,
right.
yeah. So I appreciate you joining us, because I didn't know. I mean, with all that you have going on in Pittsburgh, because I was going to ask you what's going on in Pittsburgh lately, because I know with being a news anchor, it's got to stay busy.
It is busy, not a whole lot. Pittsburgh is a big sports town, as you know. I probably should even say out loud that I'm not a Steelers fan, but I am not. So all things sports is very big, of course, in Pittsburgh. Today there was a big race. I was not running in it, did not participate, Lisa. I told you,
Okay.
I'm not that much of a runner. So that was kind of the big thing today. And then we kind of had some wacky weather, and I'm not a meteorologist, but there's been like some damage as a result of some storms that came through the area.
Okay.
So those were kind of the big stories today. But Pittsburgh doesn't compare to DC, in my opinion. In case there are any Pittsburghers who are listening, it's a great city, but it's not my city. I love DC.
They're staying quiet, but I'm sure that there's some that are just like, wait a minute. But no, I wanted you to share with them what you do. I thought was kind of cool is after you all have your show, some of your fellow coworkers, the anchor men and women, you all have a little piece that you all do. I think it's after or before the show.
After the show,
yeah.
yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So I am a morning news anchor, so a very, very early morning. We start at 4:30. I know that's incredibly early.
My.
And I have a 1-year-old, so that I don't get much sleep,
Oh.
unfortunately. So our show goes from 4:30 until 8. And then we get on Facebook Live, like you, after the show, and it's much more relaxed. Like, all the walls are down at this point. We aren't being formal and delivering the news, but we're just chatting about, how the day is going, what we have going on, things of that nature. And people can, ask questions, and, people want to know everything from, what are you having for breakfast, or who does your
Isn't that
makeup? Do you
crazy?
do your own makeup? Just
Right.
all kinds of you would be surprised. But it's kind of a relaxed way to really connect with the viewers, as opposed to, speaking to them from the anchor desk delivering the news. So I actually really like doing the after the show.
Yeah, those were kind of fun. When I was watching them, I was like, no, those are kind of fun.
I'm gonna
Because they
check
get to
that
know the
out.
person behind,
Yeah.
Exactly.
which is why, I wanted you to come on and just tell. So, okay, so since you kind of led us there, what is one of the strangest questions that you've been asked when you were on one of those lives?
Let's see, what's strange? Well, you know what? I had a marriage proposal a couple of weeks
Oh,
ago.
wow.
Did you
So,
really?
yeah, and here's the thing. Something else. I've been married for 9 years.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. You know what? Is that's
I'm
one that
pausing
we
so
missed?
you can fill in the blank.
Right.
That we missed that because I've been married for 9 years too.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I love your reaction, Andrea. I'm actually watching you guys.
I
I'm
know.
watching your reaction.
I'm like,
I forgot. I
okay.
mean, did we talk about that?
Yeah,
We
9 years.
did.
Isn't
We
that
did.
something?
I forgot about that,
That is
but
something.
because I think when we were talking and then it came up and she's like, yeah, "I've been married 9 years." Like 9. What month did you all get married?
September
Y'all was
4th.
September.
Okay, we're gonna say if y'all say the same date, I'm done.
I noticed.
I am completely done.
She's stepping away from
Like
me.
I'm just done.
Yeah, so again, a lot of similarities. So again, married for 9 years, and then just recently, probably about a month ago, there was a guy who asked if I would marry him.
Oh wow.
So thanks, but I'm already married.
Yeah.
So he just kind of just said it. He didn't.
Yeah, he just kind of said it. Well, I get again, you get people who are very flattering and who are very generous with their compliments, and I appreciate that.
Right.
But there has, and I think he kind of meant it tongue in cheek, but he just kind of went for it. Hey,
Right.
Lisa, will you marry me? And lots of hearts behind his message.
Oh. So what was your husband's response when you told him?
Well, first of all, my husband does not watch. So,
Oh, okay.
when I tell him later, he's like kind of, again, not big into social media, unlike
Right.
me. So, he's like, wait, what? Huh? Whatever. Which is a good thing. He's not fazed by, I guess I should call it my fans, if that's what you want to call them, which is a good thing. So if he doesn't get, too hot or cold, depending on what somebody says, somebody who sees me on TV for a few hours each day.
That's cute, though. That's kind of. So, was there ever a question that you were asked and you just, I mean, it stumped you, but you were like, "No, I'm not. I'm not answering that." But sometimes.
Lisa, you asked me something that I've never shared in an interview before, and that was really tough for me. I was like, I don't know. I feel like my life is such an open book, in some regards, that I don't think I've ever been asked, something about me that no one else knows.
Okay, because sometimes people they like to catch you off guard,
Right?
And I'm thinking, especially when they see you and they don't get to, meet you, or talk
Oh,
to you.
for sure.
And then they're
for
like,
sure.
Well, I'm
I
gonna
had a
ask
guy.
This question, yeah.
Right, I had a guy ask me if I was. Now, remember, I just said I have a 1-year-old. I had a guy ask me if I was expecting again, and when I thought I would be expecting again, and I just said, you know what, I'm expecting a phone call from a friend
Right.
and a package from Amazon, but not a baby. So. You have to politely kind of love people and get them. That's why I love the title of your book, The Power of Shut Up. I love that.
Yes, because it was a lesson that needed to be learned, and because it was so life changing, I was like, I need to share this because, well, and partly too because, well, the time and age we're in, and people are kind of real quick to respond, not think first, and it seems like not a big deal. And maybe back in the day when you get mad at somebody and you hit hands and then go away and be mad for a minute. Now people are just taking you out, in a heartbeat off of a comment. So it's like action. A time or place where we need to, with that one, what I learned was the difference between not telling people they don't have a voice, because that's how I took it at first.
Right.
When somebody came to me and told me I need to shut my mouth, it was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you took offense to
wait
it first.
a minute. But then I kind of got it. Like, there is a time when you don't have to say
anything.
Well, actually, my husband, I hope he's not listening, because he would be like, that's what I tried to tell her. But it was like, Lisa, you do not have to say everything you are thinking. And my first gut response was, well, how are they going to know?
If you don't say anything.
But then it was kind of like, okay, Lisa, come pull it back. So I was like, okay, you're right. I didn't want to give it to him, but I had to give it to him. So
the book is very powerful, though.
Yes. So, and we definitely want to make sure that when you come back, when you come back to DC to visit, and maybe we need to find out who Dad is and make him put the pressure on or something. Lisa. Did she fall off? We're gonna check and see if we lost Lisa, but or maybe maybe that's what it was. But while we're getting Lisa back on, we wanted to we thought it was just so cool So what I wanted to mention to you all before we got off the air was to maybe Google yourself. And I mean, of course, we're not hoping that you will find something crazy out there. But, there's no guarantees. I'm just saying, but just Google yourself. But that's all I did, and saw another picture come up. Actually, there are a lot of Lisa Washingtons out there, but this one really kind of grabbed me because it was somebody who was in the area that I actually. Lisa, if you're still tuned in, can you call back in? I don't know what happened. We lost you. Oh, it might have shut it. Okay. Yeah, if you can call in back into that number, we will pull you right back in so that we can finish out with you, because this has been Shishko's.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah,
Not
sorry
sure
about that.
That's okay.
Something went on. We're like, wait a minute. I forgot what did we ask?
We were at
We
your book. We were sharing the power.
Then I
shut
think
up,
I
and then we
asked
were going
something,
into-
and then I forgot what I asked.
Well, you were saying and like this day and age, people sometimes
yeah.
ask questions without thinking, and they say things sort
Right.
of inappropriate. That's what I heard.
Oh, I know what we said. We said that maybe we needed to find out who Dad was.
Oh, that's what we were trying to get you here.
Make him put on the pressure to get you here, so we can get you live in studio.
Which would be awesome.
Yes. So
Right.
whenever
Yes, we
you
have
come
to
to
do
town,
that.
yes, that would be fun. So let everybody know, kind of where they can, to keep follow. They might want to follow you on what you're doing. But we did share, and I know we'll be sharing Lisa's story in Dove Style Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
But share. I think I did ask you what it is that you might be wanting to do when you finish, anchoring.
Yeah, anchoring.
What else would you like to do?
Yes. So one day I know that I don't think I want to be on TV anymore, and I don't know, maybe I'll be too old and I have too much gray hair. They won't want me on anymore. But I really want to own a bed and breakfast.
Nice.
Like, I love the idea of, like a little bed and breakfast. I'm thinking maybe somewhere, I don't know, either out in Virginia or maybe in California. I lived in California for a while, so we'll see. So I figure after my long career in television in D.C., then I'd like to have a bed and breakfast. I think that'd be kind of neat, something to do when I'm retired.
So you'll have to let us know when you get all of that set up, so that in California works too.
Absolutely.
Give me another reason to go over to California, because I've actually never been. So
Oh yes, you'd love
you
it.
gotta go.
yeah, so let us know when that happens, and we'll stay connected. And of course, I wanted to give a shout out to, or did you want to give a shout out to any of your Delta sisters? Because I know there's
definitely.
some on the
Of
line.
course,
Definitely.
of course. There are a lot of my sorority sisters in the D.C. area. I have friends from all over who live in D.C. I hope they're listening. So I have, by now, just name a few. I have Trishanda, who is there, Giselle, who is there, a number of them. So I probably shouldn't name names because I'll forget somebody. But yes, so all of my sorors, all of DSP and the DMV.
Nice.
Wonderful. So we're looking forward to meeting you in person. So that's on the bucket list.
Yeah, that definitely is on the list.
Yes.
And by that time, maybe we'll find Andrea Riley.
Yeah, we'll find Andrea Riley.
your
Andrea
Mary
Right, I'll bring her
Robinson.
with me.
And we'll have both of you all in. But I didn't realize that your dad was here. So that's even more reason to get
Absolutely.
you back in the area.
Have you come on home?
Yes,
Yeah. So
right.
this was absolutely wonderful. I have enjoyed it. I was looking forward to this.
Yes, she was.
I was.
The excitement exuberated over the phone.
I did. I was trying not to, because I was trying to figure out how do I kind of advertise it to get people, but I didn't want to tell them. So I just did that one post, but it was just hilarious because people, they didn't even respond to the post necessarily. It was just kind of an
Right.
inbox that was like, I don't want to put you out on blast, and I thought maybe you were having a moment. And I thought that was just hilarious. That's what I was going for, but it was just funny that people were
But
like.
you had some reach out to you thinking that you need a little
That,
help.
well, they just said.
I'm concerned.
They just said. Well, I saw the post and I wasn't sure what to make of it. So because I was so excited about, they're like I said no, it'll. So I had to tell them because I didn't want to think I was crazy. But I didn't want to. It was like I didn't want to tell them because I was like, no, wait and see.
Right.
Maybe
you could have told them that too.
Maybe you'll see me just talking to myself on the. And I would make the news, right?
Right.
Yes,
Definitely would make the news with that one.
That's right.
For the right reason.
I would really make the news then.
Exactly.
So, are there any upcoming stories or anything in the area that so how do they give you stories? How do you come up with stories or things like that? Do you all do the research or?
So we do some research, but thank God for producers.
Right.
So we
Yes.
do have producers who come in much earlier, who sort of write the scripts and align the stories. And then once
good.
I come in, I go through those stories and the script. So it's a tremendous help. We wouldn't be able to do it without the producers,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, something I had going on in fact, this just happened, so it's not like I'm promoting it. But Valerie Jarrett, who for a while was a Washingtonian, but is now back in Chicago, I believe. She was the senior advisor to President Obama for all 8 years of his presidency. And she was in Pittsburgh recently, and I had an opportunity to interview her. So that was a big moment for me. I was really excited about interviewing her. And I know she was in D.C. this past weekend as well for a Jack and Jill conference. She's just written a new book. And so I really enjoyed that. That was, again, a pleasure to meet her, someone who was so close to President Obama. So that was good for me. And I will remain an objective journalist, and I won't be political, but it was nice to speak with someone from that administration.
Right. There was one. Well, and what was I just getting ready to ask you? In mentioning interviews, can you tell us a little bit about the Rosa Parks interview?
Definitely.
Yes. So that's probably my biggest story from Fox 5. So when I started working at Fox 5, I was fresh out of college. And you've probably heard the term a cub reporter or a green reporter. I was all of those things, literally. I mean, I learned Clark Atlanta prepared me well, but I had never been a news reporter on the air before.
Okay.
And it was a Saturday morning, so I worked weekends. And we thought that Rosa Parks was going to be in town in D.C. getting an award, but with a limited staff on the weekend. So I went by myself with the photographer. So there was no real reporter other than, me, reporter trainee. And there's Rosa Parks with some of her handlers. And so I, as graciously as I could, go over to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Lisa Washington. I don't think I used to do that time. I can't remember. From Fox 5, would love to be able to speak with you. And I mean, just an honor to be in her presence. Rosa Parks is such a phenomenal hero for all of us. And she was great. She wasn't extremely talkative, but she, welcomed my questions. And she, to her, I could have been a network news anchor at the time because she was just as courteous to me. So I will never forget that. And I remember asking her, why did you take that seat? Or why did you sit down? Well, the story we all know. And she said it wasn't that she was trying to protest or be so outspoken. She was just tired. The woman was coming home from work, and she was tired, so she wanted to have a seat. So, again, that was sort of my highlight of working at Fox 5.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is huge.
That's huge. Just to talk to her, even if you weren't able to share the story, I was I was talking to her. She was talking to me.
Absolutely.
So that is major. And actually, the connection that I was making is, some of my closest I shared with Lisa that when my very first story that I wrote when I was actually, at that time I was writing for a celebrity charity magazine that's out of LA. It was my very first story. I had never covered any kind of event, and she wanted someone who could cover the MLK dedication downtown.
Okay.
And I met I didn't meet anybody, but my old pastor is Reverend Lowry, Joseph Lowry.
Right, Joseph Lowry.
And he's connected with SCLC. And so it was kind of the connection with Martin Luther King and Rosa. I was like, wow, it's just like another little connection where that was my first. And it was exciting. I'll never forget it. It was the very first time that my name was attached to an article, and to be with those kind of name,
Right.
figures,
That is
is like
exciting.
wonderful. So Lisa and I just felt like I was talking to myself
That
sometimes.
is awesome.
There's something in the name, I'm convinced.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there
Even
is.
though I did share with her, my husband, he thinks that he's like, well, does anybody use another name other than Lisa? Because lately it just seems like every time a movie comes on, I've even heard it recently in commercials, which I never used to hear, but they use the name Lisa. So every time he hears the name Lisa, he just kind of looks at me like, really? I said, well, I didn't name him. It's just
Exactly,
it's a great
exactly.
name. It's like, it's easy.
It's
And it's
easy.
easy, it's short. And it's funny because my mother gave me that name she shared with me because, you know how people shorten people's names and do little, Kimberly,
Nicknames
Kimmy,
or-
and all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. Okay, so she didn't want anybody to be able to do that with my name.
So that's the reason for
So Lisa, besides the fact that a little girl came to the door and asked could Lisa come out to play, she had the wrong door. But when she
Oh,
said
my
it, my
goodness.
mother actually liked the name, and then she's like, "Oh, nobody can do anything with Lisa. They can't shorten it. They can't even."
Right.
It's already short.
Yeah, Lisa. It's like, what can you? Even though people still do it, you'll get different little things, but it was too short to do anything with. And my
Wow.
sister's name is Erica, so then they thought it had something to do with the stories back then.
Right.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Now I don't know, but
I love that. Now, what nicknames do you get, Lisa? If I can ask a question, what nicknames do you get?
I get Lily.
I was gonna say Lily.
They would say Lisa Pizza back, stuff to
Yes,
Stuff
yes.
that rhymes, yeah. Mhm.
But I think that's it. They didn't know what to do with it. What did you get?
I sometimes get same thing. I'll get Lily. I'll get Lise, just the Lis.
Yes,
And then
I do get
anytime
that.
anything with Mona Lisa, I always hear
okay.
that.
Yeah, I do.
I can see that.
Okay, yeah, those do get. I do get the lease. Lis. You're right. I do get that.
Yes.
It's just hard to do anything with Lisa.
Right.
Actually, a couple of them, and I can't think of them now, but it was like a couple that somebody said, and they made the name longer than. It was longer than my name, so it's like that's
Oh,
not
goodness.
really a.
You have a problem with that.
I was like, how do you make a nickname longer than the name? That's a little odd to me. So, but no,
Yes.
that's how I ended up with Lisa. At least that's what my mother told me. So she said, I just wanted something where people couldn't shorten it or
Shorten it.
paraphrase it, and Erica, you can't do anything with.
Well, different ways of spelling that. They got K.
Well, you
and,
can spell it differently, but you can't
can't change
shorten
it.
it
Yeah,
or
you can't shorten
anything.
it.
I think
Right.
the worst they do is eat. Just say eat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, pretty much you
So-
can. Or Rika.
Yeah, it's nothing you
Yeah.
nothing you can do with it. So this has been so
This
much
has.
fun. We really
I've
appreciate
enjoyed it.
you.
Yes.
So tell us again what station you're on, because we might have some people that'll tune
Absolutely.
in somehow.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
do let
I am
people know,
currently
too.
working at KDKA. It's the CBS station in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And then I also do things for the PBS station here, but my main job is at KDKA.
Okay. And they can.
Yeah.
Is that on? Well, how would they tune in? Is
Well, you can go to kdka.com or CBS Pittsburgh,
they
and then we also stream the newscast. Yeah.
Okay, and what I was going to mention too is for those who weren't able to tune in and see you right now, you can get the show on YouTube.
Yes.
So they'll be able to go back and watch the show. So tell them no excuses. They can tune in.
Right.
They can't say, "Oh, I missed it." No, you didn't.
Oh, wonderful. Good. Okay.
So yes, we will definitely stay in touch, and I appreciate you for agreeing to come on. This was really fun.
Yes, it was. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Yes, and my next trip to DC, I'm going to be coming in the studio.
Yes.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah, so let us
Absolutely
know
have
when,
to.
and it will be a done deal.
Will do.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks. You ladies take care.
All right, you take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye. That was so cool.
That was cool.
Yes.
Very, very cool. And again, I'm going to put it out there. If there are any Andrea in Riley, you all can hit me up. Do that.
Yes,
name
Andre,
thing.
we got to get that middle initial in there. That would be so
incorporating
cool.
that middle initial. Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, and maybe just challenge people to, maybe if we can, I don't know, that might be a fun little show where if you get a couple of guests, have them come in
Absolutely.
and have their, whoever they Googled, to call in and just. That
we
would
could
just
do
be
it.
so
We
weird.
could definitely do it.
Because I
You
will
just don't
say
know.
that one time I had surgery to do something, and when they came to the room to check my band, they were having some confusion. Of course, it's getting ready to stress me out because you're getting ready to take
You
me
don't know who I
under,
am?
and you all are having some anxiety. So why am I not having it? Tell
Right.
me what's going on. So the lady did confess to me that there was another Lisa, and I guess it was Lisa Washington. I don't think the initial was the same,
Right.
but it's a Lisa Washington whose birthday was the same,
Oh, wow.
which was scary.
Mm-hmm.
So they were having some confusion because whatever she was doing
Getting
wasn't
done.
the same.
Right.
But I was there with the cap on my head, ready to go. So I'm like,
Right.
y'all need to get that clear.
Not the wrong surgery.
You ain't got to tell me what you're doing, but I don't care.
I don't care. Just make sure you got it right here.
Do what you're supposed to do to
Absolutely.
me. So, but that was
Absolutely.
a little confusion. I forgot about that till we were talking about it. But they had the same birth date, and of course, those are your identifiers when you're in
Right.
the hospital. So
Absolutely.
I was like, well, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Yeah, not now.
And scary.
Right.
No.
I'm glad they were good at what they do. Cause,
Right.
Yeah, that could have been ugly.
Because that could have been real ugly.
Yeah.
We don't know what she was.
I know, right? I was just like, when they came in and talked to me, my eyes were like, what? Oh, well, okay, get it together.
Right. So let me re-explain.
Well, let's
why I'm here
reschedule
so we be
this.
on one accord.
Right.
Absolutely.
So thank you
Not
all
at
for
all.
tuning into Girls Gabbin. This was just kind of a fun,
This was.
fun
that was
little
really
thing
fun.
to do, and it was totally accidental. But it was just kind of my brain started working when I was like, oh my goodness. Because she said,
Right.
you've done your research. I said, because every time I would read something, I say, oh my goodness, Love Jones, me too. I'm reading me too. And I was like, this is so weird. And then she was so open.
She
And
seemed to
just,
be.
really just cool. And we just talked like we had known each other. So I was like, this will work. So then I called Andrea and was like, you need to do this too.
Yes, the excitement was across the phone.
Like, yeah.
I was like, okay.
Because at first she was kind of like, okay.
I was like,
okay.
so what's going to happen? Let me get
Right. But then I was
But
thinking,
now I was like, okay.
it could be a switch too. It's like, ooh, what if, you Google somebody and you're like, oh my gosh.
Right. Definitely want to. I don't know. If
Right,
wanna
I don't know.
Share that. But,
No, I didn't find anybody.
No, not at all. I'm not going to share that story, even if it is. And
Right,
hopefully
right.
she won't Google
Yeah,
me
no,
back.
I didn't find anybody. No such luck. Didn't have any. But thank you
But
again,
it-
Lisa, for
yes,
calling
thank
in.
you.
And Andrea, you want to
Definitely. As always, as we spoke about, we are ending this September. This is the last Sunday of September. We're gauging October with the whole month about awareness and some other topics that, of course, we'll share with you all. But mental awareness is real. Health awareness is real. So
Right.
we'll definitely be touching on that. You can reach us on Girls Gabbin on Facebook, Instagram, and our webpage, Lisa Dove Washington and Andrea Riley individually. Download the app at WinDC Radio and empowered by Go Win Media. You can catch our replays on YouTube, and we also post them on our page. We thank you for tuning in each and every Sunday. We are here from 7 to 8 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you, and have a
See
good
y'all
night.
next Sunday. Have a good one.
All right.
Okay. That's it. So it's not still.